All right, welcome back to It's Basically Monday. We had a little hiatus, but as promised, back again with some more content for the people in 2222. Is that the year? That
22, 22?
is that the year
No,
for the people
man.
who are doing this? Not the current year, the people who are doing this
Oh,
for.
22, 22. Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yeah, hey 2222.
The four twos.
Yep,
That's gonna be an interesting year.
yeah.
Like, when's the last time we had like all the years all the numbers line up? The year 111? I mean 1111?
Yeah. It
Yeah,
didn't happen then. I'm kind of surprised that there isn't some kind of like huge historical, everyone freaking out type of uproar thing.
yeah,
I
that's
don't.
true. Maybe the people back then didn't know it was the year 1000. No, that
They
can't be
did.
true. I'm
No,
pretty
they
sure they
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 did. They
knew.
just had more real life things to worry about, so they didn't make up weird things about the years bringing travesty. They had real problems.
Maybe there was something. Maybe there's like plagues and locusts
You mean
and the
daily
wrath
life?
of God.
You mean daily life?
Yeah, which is like yeah, every day back then basically.
Yeah. So how is everyone doing since the last time we spoke?
Pretty good. I ran over someone's phone this week. Like I probably wasn't the only person who ran it over, but it's like a weird interesting thing that happened to me that like made me stop and think like, like I just probably like destroyed someone's life just then. But like really like I was just driving and I realized there's this phone in the street. Like it was like a highway actually. And I could feel like at first I didn't know what it was. And like it was so fast I didn't even have any time to react. And then like when the my tires went over it, I could tell. I was like, that's a phone. And I looked in my rearview mirror and it was like skidding around on like the street behind me after my tires like kicked it up and like whatnot. And I knew like there's no way like the phone was intact. It was like one piece, but I know if someone picked it up, every single like millimeter of that screen would be shattered. Like, but yeah, it just kind of made me think like, I'm glad that I have my phone, and every time I switch phones, it's not because it got abruptly taken away from me in a tragic accident.
It was
And
just in the middle of the highway.
Yeah, yeah. And like we're like all the cars were like basically bumper to bumper moving like 40 miles an hour, like so there was no time to react. And like I saw it as like, oh, and I could feel my tires crunching over it as like I went over. I was like, yep, like that was definitely a phone, like for sure.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. But then it wasn't like an IED or something.
Yeah. Or maybe it was someone's burner phone, so like their whole life isn't on it.
Like
And
they
maybe
threw it
that's
out of the car on purpose.
yeah, that's why I was outside on the street. They just threw it out of the window.
Okay. But so you were the first person to run it over, or you just saw that you were someone that also ran it over?
I I didn't see anyone else run it over, but I'm assuming I would be surprised if I was the first one to run it over. But like yeah, as far as I know, I was the first person, maybe, but like I would guess it was probably pretty crunched up even before I got to it.
When was the last time you lost your phone, John?
um, probably 2015 or 16. It was when we lived in our Greenfield apartment. We went fishing and it fell out of my pocket into the water.
Oh, yeah,
So
that's.
you saw the whole thing happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you
Okay.
get the phone back, or was it
No,
just gone after that?
no, I couldn't get it out. The water was too deep.
Oh man, so it's yeah, your whole life.
I
How
mean,
bad was that?
not it wasn't that bad. It wasn't my whole life. I
You're
just
like,
went to the I
whatever.
just went to the store and bought another phone.
You're like, yeah, man, we have the cloud. Everything just uploads right to my. But even with that, like if I lost my phone right now, there would be like some apps that like it aren't even on the app store anymore that like I wouldn't even be able to like download again, like because they got removed.
You have Flappy Bird on your phone or something?
Yeah, basically. No, it's like some like old work apps that like for some reason lost their like Google Play security like clearances. So now like they don't even offer it anymore. But like there it's the only app that like works for like the specific device like and if I were to lose this, like my life would just be like a lot more like inconvenient. Like so like I've got a couple of those apps on my phone. So like as long as I have my phone, like I can always plug it into my new phone and it'll download all the apps whether they're part of the Play Store or not, like to my new phone, which is nice. But if I were to ever lose that phone, and then like do you guys have like the authenticators on your phone? Like don't they make you do that for some stuff nowadays? Like you have an
Yeah.
app on your phone that sends you a code that the whole purpose of the app is just to send you codes for your like when you log on to stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, you could download it on another phone.
Like if I were to lose my one phone that had the authenticator app, like wouldn't isn't it over? I'm pretty sure after that.
No, you just download it on a different on a different device.
But how do you download it on a different device? Like
The same
that's
way you
not
downloaded it on
secure.
the first device.
But do you download it on a first device by like typing in like some sort of code or whatever on the website
Yeah, you just have to go through
back
that.
when it knew that it was you
Yeah, you
when
just
you
have to
were
go through.
logged in?
Right, you just have to go through that process again by logging in the same way you did before you had it the first time.
But you can't do that without the authenticator.
That's not true.
there's not an authenticator to log into the authenticator. It's just no, like when you sign up, they force you to put in a two-factor, and it can't be the same device that like you're using.
Yeah,
Like what
Like
apps
and
do
if
for
it's
this?
in the
and
email
for work,
or
like I have a Microsoft Authenticator on my phone right now for work. If I lost my phone, I could just re-download Microsoft Authenticator. As
How is that?
Mhm.
What's the purpose of the authenticator then? You might as well just be able to log in with the app then. The
n-
point of the authenticator is that it knows it's you because you're the only person who has access to that phone. But if you were just able
yeah.
to download the authentication, like what's the difference between yeah,
Well,
what's the point of that? I don't
if
get
you
it.
assume that my phone was lost and someone could get in it, the authenticator also uses either a code or like the Face ID to get me into Authenticator. So like me losing it doesn't mean that like someone else can use it too. They would also have to have that second piece. They'd have to have either me or they'd have to have my code, and they don't have that. I do.
Wait, okay. So Microsoft Authenticator saves your code. So you just log in to
No.
Microsoft Authenticator.
No, no. When I log into my work to my work like laptop, I can log in just using normal credentials. If I'm doing something work related on my phone, it makes me use the authenticator through my computer, which my computer feeds me the code to put into the app on my phone. So the app itself is only a gateway to say, okay, because I know you're on the work computer, you got the code from that work computer, you can do it on your phone. So as long as I have the work computer, then it doesn't really matter because I can always re-download Authenticator on a different phone and just do the same process.
Interesting. Like I know I have like there's a couple like websites that made me get the authenticator. One of them actually being ChatGPT. Um, they made me get the authenticator. So like I downloaded an authenticator app or whatever, which is like this like fancy timer app, and like you can use it for like multiple websites. Amazon actually, Amazon. I don't know if they make you get an authenticator, but I chose to do that because it's the most secure or whatever. But I know like I'm pretty sure there's no way I can just download the new codes on a new phone, at least
It's
for
not
that
it's not the code.
authenticator.
The authentic at least all the authenticators I've seen for work purposes, the authenticator app itself just provides a portal to the codes. It isn't producing necessarily the codes itself. It's just like a random portal that is to the like a number generator that matches them up. So like Danielle, for example, had to use one on her phone for a long time because in her old company, or not old company, but like the old place she used to work, they did the same thing for that client because that's just what the client like those that was their security protocols. But she's gotten new phones in between then, and all she had to do was re-download it. Like, just again, like the shut off. A lot of the authenticator apps now use the phone security as like the gateway to get in. So like, unless you have all of the passwords to get into the phone itself, then you really can't do anything with the authenticator. So at least from a work perspective, I don't know how it works on Amazon. I've never had to download it for anything else. But anything work related and corporate, that's always how it's been. It's just been like it's a portal that uses a combination of the phone security. So like for me, it's Face ID or a manual code that I put in to get into the phone, and then it feeds the code from the app on the laptop to it gives it to me and I have to type it in.
I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like the whole point is like, okay, you have to verify the person getting into this is the same, and you know that it's the same because they have access to both, not just one device. They have access to two of these devices.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you can download the authenticator and then just somehow get in.
But you can't just get in. Like that's you're saying that like it's just so easy to down. Like if someone else
Well,
uses my
because
phone,
that's what you're saying. Like if you lose your
no,
phone, it's just easy. You download another
it's easy for me
authenticator.
because I know the code because I'm the only one with my laptop. No one else could do that.
Okay, so like in your case, your laptop is the authenticator, which is different than anything I've ever seen.
No,
You like
it's
use
just a
like
part. It's just a part of the authenticator. It's just matching a code. There's an authenticator. It's literally called authenticator on my phone.
yeah, that's what it's called on my phone. It's just like authenticator. And then like my computer will tell me to go look at
Yeah,
my app on the phone and type in the code in it. So
yeah,
like they're yeah, they're just making it so like okay, he has access to his phone. That
yeah.
must be the
But I'm
same
saying it
guy.
works. It works both ways for me. So if I'm already on my phone and logged in, and I go onto my computer, it's through some other server or something, it'll do it the reverse way too. So it'll ask me to look on the phone one to get the code from the phone and put it onto the laptop one sometimes. It just depends on the order in which I
Interesting.
log in.
Okay. I've never seen that before.
Yeah,
Everything I've ever used is always just like refer to your phone. And sometimes even if I'm logged into my phone, it'll be like go open up that app on your phone that you're even logged into right now and tell us the code.
yeah.
Which is I guess that's just like the kinds they
I
have
have
you
that.
use or
I have
whatever.
that for personal stuff. So like if I log into something and I have a number on file where I haven't logged in for a while, they'll ask me to do that.
Okay,
But again, you'd have
interesting.
to have my phone and my face to ever get the code.
Yeah, and then what if you lose your phone?
You still have to have my face, so you can't get into my phone unless you know the
No,
code to
but
the
how do
phone.
you go get your code back? I mean,
I don't. That code isn't static. It changes for every time I log in.
yeah, and if you lose your phone and you can't see the code anymore, how do you ever log in?
Because I just get a
There's
new
like,
I get a new phone. I log into my computer first, and then I download the app on the phone, and the app on the computer will tell me a code, and then I put it into the new phone, and then I'd be it again.
but when you log onto the computer, doesn't it ask you to authenticate it using your phone? So
No,
like the
not
part where you say I log onto my computer
yeah.
and then
No, no, you
like you
don't.
can't get that far.
No, you don't have to do that every time. You can log in. You can log in with your individual password to just get into the credentials for my computer at work. I don't have to put in the authenticator for that. The authenticator is only authenticating me like going into work-related stuff on my personal device.
Interesting. I know like on yeah, for my Amazon app, I'm like 90% sure that if I lose, at least that's how I have it set up. I have it set up so like if you can't get your access to the authenticator app, like you can't get in, like it's over. So my only option
So
would
why
be
why would you
to
set it up? Why would you set it up that way?
that way it would be secure. Like I guess
So
I wouldn't
secure that
even
if you
have an
so secure that if you
authenticator
lose your
app.
phone that you'll never able to get in ever again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
That
Like
doesn't seem worth
the,
the security to me, but okay.
the whole point is so like if my computer and all my passwords get like hacked, like they would still need literally physical access to my phone itself in order to like not just the passwords, like they
Mhm.
literally need to have my phone because like that's the only way you could get into the authenticator app.
Yeah, the only
But
time I have that level of security on anything is like through financial stuff, but even that is like it's a text message. So you'd have to have that password and and the other passwords that I have to get into all two or three that you would have to get to authenticate. So even that I don't know if it's I feel like even that would be hard.
Like when I set this up on my app, like Amazon gave me, I think it was like a code or a QR code that my authenticator app had to scan. So now like the app and like my login are like linked, like or it has like the right code. So like basically you can add that code to like whatever the current date and time is. And I think that's how it kind of like makes it like okay, that's the key or whatever. But like so basically like what I just did is like okay, I always have like an old phone like somewhere at home that has the authenticator app on it still. And as long as that old phone can still turn on, like I'll have the authenticator app again on my new phone, but I if I were to lose the old phone and the new phone, then it would be over. And like the whole point of that is like yeah, if I lose all my passwords and like someone figured out all my passwords, they would need to like literally have my phone in order to log in. But if you can just download the authenticator and all your codes and links to your websites, then like there's no point of having authenticator because if you lost all your passwords, then they would just like run a Android OS and then just use it to log in and download your authenticator and just do that. So like
If they had your
I
password to the original thing, then yeah, like if you lose things, yeah, it's a good idea. They tell you all the time to change passwords in case that happens.
right.
But that's just normal practice. Like, I mean, it sounds like you're saying like if they you said they would just download all the codes. Like, at least for me, the code itself is again, it's not this static thing where it matters at all. It's only matters for that like very small portion of time that you're logging in. It's invalid after that. So like even if they knew the old codes that I've used in the past, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't help you get in. It would just tell you
No,
what
I
the
mean like download your passwords
yeah, but if they can download
like
my passwords, they can get in anyway. So it's
not without the authenticator. And
okay.
at least not for me. Like you have to have your phone. You literally
Yeah,
cannot get in unless you. And if I lose the phone, I can't
I
just
don't.
like.
I'm not. I don't have anything that I'm protecting at that level that I feel like I need authenticator and a password and Face ID for. Like that seems like a lot.
Yeah, I guess.
Because if you
But
log in
yeah,
from
I mean,
any
like,
other device into any financial institution, I automatically would get a text message about it, like whether you have the password or not. So like you wouldn't be able to get in from a unrecognized device, and the only devices that are recognized are the ones that I use because I set them up as recognized devices.
I mean, normally for any normal person, I'd be like, yeah, that's completely true, and you're safe. But like, I apparently nowadays it's like really easy to like spoof a text message or to like gain access to someone's number and
Okay.
like send messages and receive messages through it. Like, I don't know how, but apparently it's like very easy. So like now they're telling people and companies to stop letting people get two factor through text messages because it's not actually secure anymore. So like once I heard about that, then I was like, okay, now I have to buy or not buy, I have to download the authenticator app and like lock it down since
How
apparently someone could just like
how would they
spoof
spoof
my number.
how would they spoof your number and know exactly what financial institution that you use? Like, so you're saying basically
Well,
someone's
first,
replicating your whole phone, or
yeah, you would be a target if it's getting to this point. Like
okay,
they would
okay,
find you somewhere on
okay,
the internet and be like, "Oh, look at this guy. Let's go ahead and see what we can get." Or like what would
okay,
likely happen is they would hack I don't know, Amazon or like Kohl's or wherever you shopped and logged
uh,
into recently. And then they would be like, okay, let's try all these names, all his logins and emails on Amazon and see if we get any hits. And
yeah,
then that's how they get your password and stuff
right.
basically. So then if you have the authenticator app, then that would stop them from like logging in or whatever. So
Yeah,
that's
even if they
like
got that far, and let's say they got into my financial stuff, and then they like took out a bunch of money. It and like yeah, unless I am an absolute target, and they have spoofed my phone, and they have got hacked all my passwords, and they have set up my account so that there is no outgoing messages ever in the case of anything different, which I'm pretty sure they can't even do because like certain at least I know my financial institution, if you are transferring a certain amount of money, they're contacting you in some type of way that they have on file. So like immediately after not recognizing certain, like yeah, they would have to do all of that. Like that's the only way they would get away with it. And even then, I feel like I'd still find out. So yeah, it might be a little bit more of a hassle. But yeah, I don't know if I would want to lock my authenticator. I see what you're saying. Like I know why you would do that. Like it feels more secure. But I would be more afraid of losing the phone than I would be of
Yeah.
because if you're worried about that level of attack, if you lose your phone, they can do everything you just said.
Well, if I lose my phone, no one's getting in. Like, even if they get all the passwords, I'm not getting into my own accounts then. Like, it's over. Like, like it's done. Like, if my
Wouldn't
house burned
couldn't
down and I lost my phones, like, it's over. Like,
couldn't they just remotely go into all of the things that you've had and like log into your stuff that way?
if my computer still turned on and they got lucky and I left it like unlocked and they had a remote access to it, yeah, they could. And like the website hadn't auto logged out yet, then yeah, then like
Yeah.
the authenticator is useless. But if that's
Well, for
not
just
true,
or just for Amazon, like even if they spoofed your phone and like so they had your or they had your authenticator, let's just say in some way, then they would only need that, and they really like as long as they can get into Amazon, they could get in, right? Like that's all they
well,
would need,
I
your
guess
phone and
if they
your
were on my computer, I think I have it checked. I like check the box to say keep me signed in like every 30 days or something like that. So like they can probably get in if they get into my computer. But if they're trying to log in from their computer, it's going to immediately recognize that it's a new
new
login
login.
and will
Okay,
always ask for
right.
the authenticator
Yeah.
even if the password and login is correct.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, if they were on my network and in my computer, then like yeah, it's pretty much over at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say the level of attack you're talking about doesn't seem to like it doesn't seem like you could defend against that either. Like that's pretty targeted.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like it's pretty easy to like, okay, just hack a store. Like you hear about it all the time. It's like, oh, Kohl's like lost all their login information. Like that happens so often. It's just like disheartening. And like so it's like, okay, now they're gonna try every single login on that on like Amazon and every bank, like every major bank website. So I'm just thinking like,
Logins
oh
to
my God, now I gotta do
logins to Kohl's? Like what? How do you log into Kohl's?
like not everyone does this, but a lot of people will use the same email and password for like everything. So like it'll be your same email and
People
password
have
for like your bank.
people have Kohl's accounts.
I think so. I'm pretty sure every department
That
store has like
that's
an
crazy.
account. Like
All right.
Target definitely has it, Walmart.
I didn't realize people
I'm
did that.
assuming, yeah, Kohl's definitely does because they
Well,
have a
I
whole
knew.
entire credit card system too.
Yeah, I know they offer it. I didn't think people signed up for it, but I guess they do.
Yeah, so I feel like they're the exact type of people who would get hacked and lose their stuff because they're probably not like, oh, like we're Kohl's, like we don't need
Which is
top-notch
why
security.
I'm surprised people would sign up for that because that seems like the first place that any hacker would hit.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I am guilty of using the same passwords on multiple accounts. Like I try not to
Oh,
do
see,
that for
like
like the
that I
important
don't do
stuff.
it. Yeah, that I don't do anymore. Danielle told me to stop doing that because at her company they had someone who like hacks professionally for a living, like the ethical hacker people. They came in and was
Interesting.
like, yeah, the first thing you need to do if you want to protect yourselves is like make sure you have
Yeah.
your phone setting up unique passwords either through like Apple's whatever version of the OS you're running, have that store most of your unique identifiers because it's much harder to get that than it is to just get like, you know, your daughter's name and birthday,
Right.
exclamation point star, like whatever the fuck.
Yeah, that's so
So I
true.
do that now. I've started to transition into that more. I should probably do that for all my accounts actually. Now that you said that.
Yeah, see, once you learn about it, you're like, shit, man. Let me just it's just one little easy
There's only
thing.
one or two that I think I don't have it on, but I'm trying to think if they're even important.
Yeah, when's the last time you lost your phone, Gouda?
It's never happened.
Never? You've never lost your phone?
Never, man.
Like not even in like a tragic, like murderous, like accident or anything. Maybe not murderous, but just like Like it fell and broke, and you were never able to turn
Man,
on
losing your
again.
phone is really the end of the line for you, huh?
Yeah, man. It is for most people, I feel like. Especially like if you're younger and you don't have a computer or anything, like well, I guess like everything's in the cloud nowadays, like literally everything. But still like sometimes like you lose space in the cloud and like Google doesn't let you upload any more pictures or shit anything. If you lose that, that's rough.
uh,
So you've never lost a phone.
No, well, like how you're saying, I have like broken them. Like I've definitely like dropped some in the toilet, and then it was over after that. But no,
Okay.
I've never like just
But
like
you still
misplaced
had it.
it. Yeah, yeah. Every phone I've ever had, I know exactly what happened to it, or I still have it.
Yeah, I've dropped one in the lake. That yeah,
Yeah,
weren't
I
you
remember
there?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it happen
There was a
with my
picture of
own
it
eyes.
like flying out, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
but that was all the way in the BlackBerry days.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I wonder how devastating that. I feel like that was like mildly devastating because like I lost a lot of text messages. Like there wasn't a cloud back then, but like pictures were also really crappy. So like all the pictures I lost were like, oh, it was like worthless anyways. It was like pixelated garbage.
Yeah, I feel that if we weren't like out there having a magical, like fun summer day, you would have been devastated because you were pretty upset about it happening.
That is
Like,
true.
if you would have like just done that, thrown it, like if you just dropped it in the toilet, then you would have been like
That's true.
inconsolable.
Yeah, if it was just a normal day, like a regular old day, yeah, that would have sucked. That definitely would have sucked even more.
Yeah.
Oh man, terrible.
But have either of you used the like USB key for authentication? I've been thinking about like trying to transition to that because like the thing that you're talking about where just either your phone or whatever is your primary cloud service just makes your passwords and then stores all of them. I kind of don't trust that either. Like I just don't want all of it to be in one place. I almost would rather, yeah, just have like maybe three USB drives that kind of open different things, which is so silly because it's like we're just like making the normal thing harder than it already is. Like regular keys exist already. And now we just have to make digital keys for our like laptops and stuff. Yeah,
That
it's
is
just
really
very
weird.
strange. I wonder what's gonna be the next thing that we have to lock and like make keys for.
Yeah, I mean, this is gonna get really interesting, like really fast, actually, because like a couple, like we're also like we only a few like entities have the technology of quantum computing, which can basically break any encryption. Like,
Hmm.
so that means like eventually we're gonna like as more like people get the ability to do this, you're gonna have to even up the security like like apparatus even more. So instead of USB keys, I don't even know what they're gonna do to stop this, but like it's gonna get crazy basically. Like basically we're always gonna have to be keeping up with like people trying to hack us and stuff. It's in the same way that we're always gonna be trying to be keeping up with like trying to figure out if something was produced by AI or not. It's like, was that real? Like it wasn't real. You can tell. Like look at their cheeks. Like, no, that's not a real person. Yeah, this is gonna get interesting.
Yeah, yeah, just like put me on the blood sacrifice plan. Like, can't we just like manipulate like a diabetic like testing machine and just turn that into my sign in? Make sure it's my blood and then let me sign in.
Yeah, like a DNA tester or something.
Yeah, I
That'd
mean, I
be
guess they're pretty close because they got fingerprint and face. They're like nearly there. They just have to figure out a way to accept your fluids.
I don't know if I want to be depositing fluids to log into things.
No, I don't want to either.
yeah, that's like you have to give up a part of yourself just to log in. Like, goddamn, it's really like the Matrix at that point. Like,
I think I'd just rather live off the grid then. I'll leave if that happens.
you're already off the grid.
Yeah, but I still have
Well,
like connections to like civilization. I wouldn't at that point I would stop using like money outside of like cash if that still existed. I'd just buy a
So
piece of land
basically,
and be done.
but by the time you die, if you live like to be an old like man, you're gonna be off the grid. I feel like every
Maybe.
scenario, like that's your answer. Like if things get that crazy, I'm going off the grid, and like things are gonna get that crazy. Like it's gonna happen.
It
Like there's
depends on a
nothing
lot
we
of
could do.
it depends on a lot of things. Like it depends on how it's integrated. Like I don't know that I think it's gonna go the way of like fluid deposits. Like I think there's other ways
Yeah,
that can
that's
be
true.
done. Um,
I'm not saying
that I
that's
would be
gonna
okay.
happen, but
Yeah.
yeah,
There,
Are
that's
you
a good
sure?
point.
I
Yeah,
don't
you
I
know,
don't
no, I'm not
I
actually.
don't know, but if I had to bet my financial future, I would not bet on fluids. I think that's
Okay, let's
harder.
just go with like
Before you
I
die,
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on that.
I almost might, cause like we're not halfway through our lives yet. Like, so we have a whole entire another half to go. Like maybe that might be normal. Yeah, I
so
would put money that like before we die, that's gonna be like a normal thing. Like
so at
either
what
fluids
point
or like some sort of like body matter that it's like testing.
John, are you like tapping out? Like what service or like good or whatever where they start asking you for the fluid, are you like, all right, we gotta start making the plans to get out of this system?
Anything that isn't medical.
So like Coles.
Okay.
I would never be caught dead at giving any information other than my credit card to Kohl's. Sorry, there's no chance.
So what about
Anytime they offer me a card, I just look at them.
what about law enforcement?
No, I would not be accepting of that.
What are you gonna do
So
about it?
so how do you feel about like breathalyzers?
I, I think that's fine.
Hmm. Okay. But if they
You
were
think
to
that's the
ask, can
same?
we take some of your blood? You would say no.
Yeah, correct.
Now, who's
Okay.
gonna be like, yeah, come get it. Come
All
get
right.
this
Some places
blood.
they do that. They're like, all right, you can do the breathalyzer or refuse,
I
or we'll
suppose,
take your
yeah.
blood.
Yeah,
They can
I
do a
feel
blood
like
test,
that's
yeah.
very for a very specific purpose though. Like you're what's the word? Like you're suspected of being under the influence in a lot of cases. I don't think it's common practice for the cops to just be like, hey, you know how I'm gonna find out who you are? I'm just gonna take your blood. Like that's like it's not a login
Okay,
thing.
so let's
That would be
say
that would
the
be my
next
point
time
of departure.
you have to like get your ID renewed, they're like, all right, we gotta take like some of your blood. That's just part of it now. Would that
No.
be too far?
Yeah, I don't need to do that.
No, I don't need to do that. It's like, sir, it's the law. It's
Okay,
like that's I
okay,
know, but
then I just won't get renewed, and then I'll make plans to go somewhere else.
Okay.
so at that point you're like, all right, you'll start looking into other countries.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
that makes sense.
I don't need to drive that bad. Like
Or
again,
you
it's
just
it's
give up your
leveled. Like
license.
that wouldn't be my immediate. I don't think I would leave on that note. But like that if that's happening, I feel like I would have cues of other things leading up to that. Like I don't feel like I am so disconnected from the world that I would be so like that. I'd be shocked by that. I think I'd be expecting that level. I would hear about other things that are happening up to that point. So yeah, I would never be so surprised if I just walk into DMV and they'd be like, "Yeah, we do blood now. We have been for the last couple of years." Like, nah, sorry, there's no chance. Like, no, I don't think so.
That's hilarious.
Oh
In
man.
in fact, I think I'd probably already be gone by the point I heard that was happening. I would not be caught dead in the DMV while people are giving blood to drive.
Yeah, you know
I
what's crazy?
mean, sorry,
Is
go
if
ahead.
you like get into an accident, like a debilitating accident, I'm pretty sure doesn't no one take your license away? Does anyone take your license away if that happens?
Yeah, I mean, it depends if you caused the debilitating accident.
Well, okay, if you caused it, but like if you get debilitated, even just not driving, like and
Yeah,
just something else, and
yeah.
then go to the hospital and it's like you will never do anything physical ever again. And if like Yeah, and like trying to drive would be the dumbest thing ever. But they don't like tell you that because like you didn't like make any indication that you're trying to drive or anything. And then as soon as you get home, you just get right back in the car and be like, "All
If
right,
you
here
were
we
that,
go."
if you were so debilitated that they looked at you and said you'll never do anything normal again, how the hell would you make it to a car? Like, you have
And
some
maybe
innate,
somehow you make it in there, and then you
you would
just
have
get
the
on the
most
highway
enabling
somehow.
friends in your life, and then yeah, you and them deserve to go. Then that's just natural selection.
But like, isn't that kind of weird that like you still have a valid license to drive and maybe even like insurance and everything? So if you
I
get
don't.
into a car accident, you'd be like, "Well,
Do you think they should
I
take
was
their licenses away for people who like don't have like what's the cutoff? Like, are you taking it away from like paraplegics or like what? What's
right." Then that's exactly what I was thinking. At what point do they just like take your license away? But
I
like, I'm assuming that's why they don't do it now because they don't even want to play that game. They're just like,
yeah,
whatever.
they can't know
Just
that.
please don't drive if you do that. Like,
Yeah.
but nothing's stopping you or anything per se.
I think the debilitation is stopping you.
Yeah. But like if it was something like debilitating enough to like where you could get into a car and like kind of move stuff around, but like you absolutely in no way should be driving, like maybe like a recent stroke or something like that.
Yeah, this psychopath that you're painting a picture of, yeah, I'm sure those people exist. I think that they're probably the minority, but yeah, I think most people, if they survive that kind of accident, their first thought is not to get behind the wheel again immediately while they're debilitated. Because I think any reasonable person would think, I had all my limbs and all of my dexterity and avoidance chance at its peak, and I still didn't avoid this. Getting in behind the car where I'm at like 20% now is probably not the best move.
Yeah, I think I was driving like the other day and I saw someone like cut someone else off and like was driving like on both lanes, but it was like on accident. And I was just thinking like, man, did this guy just have a stroke? And like, who let this guy back on the road? And like, that's what made me think about that. And I was like, you know what? If he did just have a stroke, I don't think anyone's checking if he's okay. Like, he would just get right back on the road whether he was okay or
It,
not. Like fuck it, I'm driving to the grocery store today.
you know what would help that is if we made people test for their license every few years.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like you can get to be 80 years old. You haven't taken a driver's test in like
I
80,
definitely,
like 60 years,
yeah,
basically.
I
It's
definitely
like,
think as you get older, you should get tested more.
yeah.
I
And
think
I
it
was
should be
thinking, like,
like a bell curve, like, but an inverted bell curve. So like you get tested a fuck ton when you first just start like driving, and then as you get into your middle years, it sort of tapers off. They're like, yeah, you're probably got some you established some like family now. You have things to live for, and then as you get older, they should hike that shit back up again as you lose your dexterity. So it's just be like this.
yeah, they probably should actually.
Yeah, I would be all for that. Even if I was old, I think like you should know. Like, don't play like you're not old. I hate when I see old people going like 20 miles an hour on the freeway. Like,
Yeah,
you're gonna kill someone.
like that person has a license by the state to drive. Like they're
Yeah.
deemed by the state to be on the road.
Well, what's interesting is they have to go every 5 years and they don't necessarily have to take another test. They just have to prove that they can see.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
So as long as Mitch McConnell's like, "Yep, I can see something right there," then like
Yeah.
he's driving.
Yeah, you just have to be able. And I'm pretty sure when I redid mine, like is I didn't even have to take the sight test. I just came in, took a picture, paid the fee, and they checked like, oh yeah, you wear corrective lenses, and like I just had to prove that. But that's it. And then like you look in the little machine with your lenses, if you can read behind a certain line. Yeah, I did have to do that. I had to read a certain line, and they were like, okay, that's good. So like dexterity and like awareness, that's not tested. That's only tested one time when you're at your absolute peak and dumbest.
I think I saw a Reddit article that was like exposing some like Florida driver's ed person who was passing like 90-year-olds like driver's renewal license, and like they would do the vision test, and like when they couldn't see the line she would just like read it to them, so then they would read it back, and then she's like, okay, you passed, and then it's like it's like Jesus Christ, man. Like that's why these people are on the road. The people in the DMV are not trying to go through like denying someone's license. They just want to get you out of their face as fast as possible. Just be like, ah, oh, do I have to tell this guy that his license is denied? Or I can just read the lines to him and just move him on his way. And like I can go home right now. It's Friday at 4 p.m. Like, I'm not trying to fucking get into this whole conversation and fight with this guy about revoking his license. And he's an old person, so you know he has time to fight with you about it. Or you could just pass him and just send him on and just forget all about it. And then he'll crash into someone, put him in a coma, and it'll all be fine.
They don't have like a quota, do they?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean,
so they're doing that simply because they don't want to like get into conflict with anyone, which I totally understand.
yeah,
That's been the
probably.
opposite of my experience with the DMV. I've seen them be nothing but difficult.
Really?
Yeah.
With you,
Like,
really?
yeah, me and everyone that I've other than you apparently, that's gone to the DMV. Like, anytime I hear anyone talk about the DMV, it's not a good place.
I mean, it's not good based on like how long you have to wait in lines and stuff, and like how much the people don't care.
But I think
But
that's
like
but I
that's
think that's my
exactly it. They just don't give a fuck.
But I think that's my point. If their goal was to get people out of their face as quickly as possible, I think that they'd be motivated much more to just get you out of my face by just giving me one. Like to have you stand in a line and then have you sit and then you get to the front after like 45 minutes and be like, yeah, you don't have this form, you got to go back. Like that's not helpful. You could have given me if you really wanted me out of here, you just would have given me the form so I could do it right here.
But you're on their face, and so what? You become another number of the line. They have a
Yeah, but now
million
you have to
people
now
in
you
the
have to
line.
stand there for even longer,
Yeah, they don't care.
which makes no sense.
I know. I agree. It doesn't make sense. Like, just help the person, get them through. But nope, you're just like, go fuck yourself. Go back in the line. Next. It's like, but I got the form. Next. Like, it's like, god damn, dude. Okay. Yeah, man. Lost to bureaucracy. Efficiency lost to bureaucracy. It's our life.
Yeah. Speaking of,
Yeah, I have to go get a new like ID actually.
oh
Like
yeah, you should
I
probably
I
do
have
that.
one of those old Wisconsin IDs that you can't even verify. Like you can print a copy off with a printer and like they can't tell.
As long as you put it on like laminated whatever.
Yeah, yep, just laminate it and it's like, yeah, whatever. It says Wisconsin ID. Apparently Wisconsin's like one of the last states who are doing like that stupid stuff.
I
Yeah.
can believe it.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I remember I remember back in college, like one of my friends knew this one kid who had a ID printer that he somehow got from a DMV, and he would just print people off IDs for like $100 a piece. And it was just like a completely like legitimate like I mean it wasn't legitimate, but like it was like as good as any other Wisconsin ID because like that's how easy they were to like spoof. But yeah,
That's insane.
that was something. The old days.
Yeah, I wondered if they still have the machines actually on premises. Because
Yeah, what do they do with the old ones? They just
I
toss them
almost
out the back.
I never get mine like the day of. I always get it mailed to me.
I've always gotten mine the day of, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't
Your
know.
license?
Yeah, I thought I got mine the day of.
No, I've
But then
always had
again, like,
mine. I've had them mailed.
I know if you like just need to renew it, like, and it's not expired, they'll just mail it to you. I know that for sure. I know you don't even have to go in actually. Like, they'll just mail you a new one, like straight up. But like when mine expired after the 10 years, I'm pretty sure I had to go in, and I'm also pretty I could have swore they gave me one. Actually, no, they didn't. I remember. Yeah, they gave me a print off, and like on the bottom it said that like it's a temporary ID and mine is getting mailed. You're right. It was just a print off. Yeah, all they had to do was just laminate it, and it would have been legit.
Yeah, so really all you need to buy is a laminator and you're in business.
Yeah, in Wisconsin. Up until I think next year or something, next fall, you have to get a real license. So I have to go to the DMV and like get a real license. They don't let you do it online,
So if you go
otherwise I
there
won't be able to fly.
and they ask you for a fecal sample, will you do it?
A fecal sample? That'd be
Yeah.
crazy. I'd be like, don't you already have my ID, my DNA? They'd be like, yeah, pretty much. We already have everyone's DNA through
They're
what
like,
is that, like
nah.
23andMe?
They're like, no, this is new. We need to test for
A
sewage risk.
fecal sample. That'd be insane. No, honestly, like, oh my God. I would need more mental preparation for that. If they just threw that on me, I would not do it that day. I'd be like, no.
And they said if you refuse and you're caught driving without a license, you'll get sent to a Ruski penal colony.
Then I would do it. I'd be like, fine. But I would purposely get it on the side of the cup.
Oh, wow, okay.
And then I would toss it at them like nonchalantly. Like, here's your fecal sample. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
But I would want to.
I feel as though people who work in those, if they actually did collect fecal samples regularly, they just get like desensitized. Like you could probably just like put a piece of shit right in their hand and they'd be like, all right.
It's like, next.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, man, God bless them to know that every single person that comes up to that window might be the one that is gonna lose it all, and you can't
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah, he just had to be like, next. He's like, fuck. Just duck behind the counter and hope that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you even think DMVs are going to be a thing in 50 years?
Like, how do you authenticate people? DMVs are the real life authenticator app. Like, you gotta walk in and take a picture.
Isn't that your social security card?
That can be automated.
Yeah, how is a social security card like secure in any way? It probably isn't. Like, for one, my social security card has already been my not the card, but my number has already been lost by Equifax, likely. Like, and so has all of yours. So like, and then two, my social security card doesn't even have like a picture or like a fingerprint of me. Like anyone could like obtain a copy of that and then just like be like, yeah, this is me. Like, isn't my ID like a much better form of like making sure I'm me? And like, you got to go to the DMV and get your picture taken for that. And how do you get your picture taken? You have to bring in your social security card. So yeah, I guess it's not very secure at all. Yeah, actually, like, what sense does that make? So I can get a real ID of someone if I obtain like a real, like maybe if I were to obtain someone's actual social security card, what else do you need? Like, can you get an ID with like what you need, like a water bill with your name on it and like a social security card, and that's it? So if I like went into someone's house and stole their water bill and their social security card,
No,
then like
you would need
they're fucked.
no, you would need like two forms of proof of I don't know if it's called proof if it's proof of residence, but like just a bill wouldn't be enough. You need two kinds of ID outside of like your normal ID.
How do you get an ID if you don't have an ID? Like your
You have
first
to
ID is
you
your
have to have
driver's license.
you have to have like proof of who you. Well, some people just get state IDs as their first ID.
Oh, did you get a state ID as your first ID?
No,
I forget about that. Like you can get like a normal ID.
that's how most people in Chicago do it because it's not as common to get licenses there when you're like of age to drive because most people don't need to drive there. But by
Interesting.
the time I was of age, I was already in Wisconsin.
Does your state ID have like your picture on it and stuff? I would assume so. It's
Yeah,
probably just like your driver's
yeah.
license,
A
except it
good a
says
good
it's
friend of
not a
mine
driver's license.
from Chicago that I grew up with just recently got his license for the first time, and he's our age.
Well, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT what you need to like get your license in Wisconsin. What forms of identification?
Oh my. Whoops. Passports count. Um, valid or expired less than 5 years. This is
It
for a state
says
ID for a driver's use a driver's license.
yeah, utility bills.
Utility bills, yeah. Um, birth certificates.
A birth certificate. Okay, and that has like your. Doesn't that have like something on it to like?
It just
Does it
has
have
like
like your
your.
fingerprint or something?
I don't think so. I have
Yeah, I
mine.
feel
I
like a
could I
birth
could just go
certificate
look.
is more secure than a social security card. At least mine. My social security card is just like a paper card, like made of like flimsy business card paper with like a number on it. That's it. Like I don't even think it has my
But
name on
the
it.
other thing
Does it
about
have my name on
Wait, hold on. What's the number?
it? It's 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I'm just kidding.
the other thing
Like
about
it's
like
just
IDs like that though is like because to your point, like everything is a lot more readily accessible. So if you wanted to get it, it'd be easier. But because like just how it's so easy to find someone else's information, it's just as easy for for like law enforcement to find out who took it. Like using the exact same mechanisms that you did to get it. So like unless you're like an absolute master hacker who can cover their tracks with perfection, you're probably gonna get caught. Like so I feel like there's almost like in a sense of understanding amongst everyone, like a social contract, that it's not worth it to do that unless well it just isn't because like even though it might be easy to do, the risk isn't worth the small reward.
well, the social contract has been broken because people do it. Like and like they do get caught. A
Ye-
lot of people, like
yeah, they
tons of them,
just
get caught
yeah,
for the
yeah,
exactly what you're saying. It's all traceable. Like
yeah.
eventually, it takes a little bit, and it sucks for the victims, but eventually, a lot of people get caught.
Yeah.
Unless like you're able to do it like overseas, and you are a master hacker, and like
Mhm.
you know exactly what you're doing, then
Yeah.
you're gonna get away with it. But
Oh
which
yeah,
there
and
aren't many of those.
I've got one of those real driver's licenses. I'm one of the few. I'm one of the 5 states that has the real cards.
But yeah, people are so. Oh, the real ID. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
need to
man.
get.
Real. So real.
People are so stupid. They think like, like they like all that PPP loan scam.
That
Like
was
there's like,
really
yeah,
stupid.
man. Like I'll just apply for these loans for the government
I'll
and
just
just like
lie
use it
straight
to
to the
buy like
government.
millions of dollars of houses
Yeah.
and stuff. Like what do you do? Like you think that's just never gonna come back to bite you?
I'll
Like
just
and
lie to
sure
the
enough,
government.
like
It's fine.
like it's just like yeah, like that's exactly the same people who are gonna like steal your credit card information and try and open a bank account to like buy some stuff or
But like
something.
that's why I'm not as worried. Like you have to be like I'd have to piss off the perfectly wrong person to be hacked like in that way. That's part of the reason I'm not worried. Like even anyone I'd piss off who'd really want to get my stuff, even if they broke in, they'd have access to nothing. Like they'd have to like beat me within an inch of my life and force me to like do everything to unlock all my stuff. And then the moment they left, I'd call fraud protection immediately, and it would
They're
all
like,
be back.
cancel my stuff.
Yeah, it would automatically be locked.
They
Like
lost it all.
there would be nothing they could do.
Yeah, that's true.
And surely there's enough. Clearly, there are more people who understand that than not because it's not happening. So, like, it happens a lot. Like, I feel like we think it happens a lot because we hear, like, the news is just says everything's bad most times, but like the actual occurrences, like ratios of people there are to people who are like having that happen is probably pretty small.
Yeah, like
Actually,
it's
we could probably look that up. How many people get their identity stolen a year?
actually that's probably like everyone. The statistic is probably like 100% of everyone in the United States
There's,
have their identity stolen.
no, there's no way.
Well, Equifax alone lost half of all of our names and social security numbers. So like that's all of us. That's 50% of the whole country right there. Like so that's just
Yeah,
like
but
one
if
company.
whoever did that, obviously they're not doing that great of a job with the information they stole because our lives haven't changed.
Right, yeah. So like what's the chances of our them actually picking your name on the list and being like, "Okay, this guy, I'll
And
steal
then
his
getting away
identity
with it
today."
too, and being good enough to get away with it, because like you've already stolen from Equifax, like you should right there. If you're gonna go back into the lines then after you already got out, like that seems like
But
yeah,
you
it
don't have
seems
to get
useless.
away with it to devastate me. Like if they
But
emptied out my bank
but
accounts right now and I got it all back in like a year, I'd be fucked for a year. Like That would still suck. But like, yeah, people, yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like, you would get
Yeah,
caught, like,
yeah.
probably,
They,
unless
their
you
their
were a
motivation
master.
to destroy you would have to be greater than their motivation to continue their own life.
Yeah, or the greed, just like the PPP loans people. The motivation to just get money outweighed their own natural common sense and logic. There's like, you
I
mean I can tell the government to give me millions of
I
dollars
think
and they'll
that's
just
just
do it?
I think
And
that's
it's
just
like, yeah,
stupidity. That's just pure
that's right.
stupid.
They'll do it, but like only if you like you actually make that money. So don't lie. And there's like, fuck that, I'm lying. And they just did it. Like they
Okay,
didn't
so
care that it was illegal or like easily traceable or anything. They're just
oh,
like, yep.
in one wait, wait.
And then on top of doing it, they would go on Instagram and be like, look at these stacks. I just did a ton of PPP loan fraud. Like, yeah, get at me. Like, they would
1.4.
literally go on Instagram and
Yeah.
find them.
Yeah,
Like,
that's stupid. That's not greed. That's just pure stupidity.
yeah, and people do it. Like, they literally go out of their way to scam something and take something from someone, in this case, the government, even though they're stupid. They were smart enough to apply for a PPP loan, which, like, it's not like
That's not smart. That's filling out your name on a piece of paperwork.
a lot of people can't do that. That's already too much for them. There's like
Wait.
signing up
The
for a
bar. Wait,
PPP
wait.
loan.
The
Fuck
bar
that.
for a smart criminal is writing their name.
Yeah, man. A lot of criminals like don't even have a high school degree. That's why they're in the criminal work. There's
Uh,
like, fuck, man. Let me like I can barely read, but let me steal this shit. But if
okay.
you're smart enough to make a blue collar crime like stealing PPP loans or something like that, like, and actually, what is hacking? Is hacking's not a blue collar crime, is it?
Um,
I don't know.
blue blue collar is the more down
I'm
to earth
sorry.
one. White collar, right?
Oh, white collar
Okay.
crime. Yes. Yeah.
So only
Uh,
only 1.4 million people in 2021 complained about identity theft. It had an identity theft complaint. That's
okay. That's
that's
like
like nothing.
0.3% of the country, or maybe less
Yeah.
than that.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's not.
That's not too bad.
But every year, though, so in 10 years, that equals up to 3% of the
It,
country, which is
that
still not bad. Like 10 years,
I don't
3%
think
of the
it's
country.
I don't think like those people's identity are just stolen forever. Like it doesn't just compound like that.
So, like, next year's people who complain are going to be mostly the same people from last year or something.
They could be, yeah, they could be some of the same people.
Yeah, that's true.
Or some of
So,
those people
probably
like
less
have
than that,
are
really.
completely different, but some of the people from last year might have like gotten their stuff resolved. Like it could be a completely different set of people.
But yeah, that's still not a very big number.
No.
So, okay, that's not bad. So, yeah, most people are smart enough to not go through with it, even though you could. And Equifax lost all of our stuff and it's posted on the internet for anyone and all to see. But
No.
still, most people don't get their shit stolen. That's nice. That's a good little tidbit of info there. Like, even though they lost your social security number, you're still good to go for now. But just remember, like, it'll be out there for your whole life. And it just takes someone at some point to pick
Yeah.
you on the list throughout your whole life, and
The
then you're
pro-
fucked.
the problem is the moment that you utilize what you stole from me, I know it. Like the identity theft is such a dumb crime. Like I just don't understand. Like the
Yeah,
moment
it's a
you
ticking
use,
clock.
like the second you use my identity, then I know. Like
Really, the
you have
only
to
way
out
to get
yourself
away
to
with
make it
it
work,
is to do it in a country that has no extradition
or you'd have to
to
kill the
America.
person whose identity you stole.
And at that point, it's not even like, why are you even hacking? You could have just. That's the same thing as just like pointing a gun at someone's head and just be like, give me all your money.
Yeah.
Like, you're not a hacker
Well,
at
okay,
that
so
point. You're
that's the
just.
only way I can see someone who might have a theft problem be thinking along the lines of slightly smarter. It's not much better, but like stealing the identity of someone who just died, that's slightly better than stealing like if you're stealing identities of like 18-year-old people, like you're still
Even
like
the just died one, like, people are investigating that death, and then like they're
yeah,
gonna realize that person's missing, and then
right.
they're
So
immediately gonna turn to like who's been
right.
at their
So the
accounts.
only person that's even reasonable to steal, really there isn't anyone, but like your
Yeah,
best chance is what someone who's old, who lives alone, who maybe lives off the grid. So yeah, maybe they'll steal my identity when I go, which is fine because I won't
It'll
care
be
by
off
that
the
point.
grid.
Yeah, it won't matter. So you can have it.
There's nothing to steal.
Maybe I'll sell my identity as part of my getaway funds to wherever I'm gonna go.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Just get a bunch of like
But
criminals to
you can't
attract
have any of my blood. You have to use your own.
use your own blood.
Yeah.
That's all right. They got it
That's not for
already
keeps.
based off of like your cousin who did a 23andMe like donation or something like that. Oh man, crazy. Yeah, that's nice. So we're fine for now.
Yeah. Yeah. If there was
Plus,
ever
I'm
that
sure
level
like
of security in
if
the
you
United
get the
States.
list of like names and social security numbers, like I'm sure you're gonna like look up the person's name first and see if like there's someone like noteworthy or of substance to steal from. Like if they just look me up, they're like, oh, this is just like some regular old Joe Schmo. Like he doesn't have shit. Like I would spend my time if I'm gonna make such a risky crime, just as you said, I would spend my time doing like the top 1%ers basically. Like
That's a worse plan. They have the resources to get their identity back.
I thought you said you're getting caught either way. So whether it's them, the government, you're
No,
getting
no,
caught
no.
either
If
way.
your
So
plan, no, I'm saying I think you're getting caught either way. If your plan is to do this and you think you're going to get away with it, it makes far more sense to scam everyday people than it does to try to scam. Like you acting as Elon Musk and buying things, that's fucking stupid.
yeah, okay, not Elon Musk. That you should never get away with that. But if it was like a no-namer, like yeah, I'm Peter Smith. Like okay,
Yeah, but
sure,
what are the
like
chances of
whatever.
you finding someone who's a no-namer who has enough like assets for you to steal that wouldn't know it right away?
No, they would know it still, but they'd have enough for you to steal where you can like instead of stealing someone's like $10,000 that they have in their life savings, you can get this guy's like 20 million real quick, just like snatch it
if
out of his
if
bank.
someone has 20 million, they have safeguards in place that it would be very difficult. Like there's no
Like
you're better off
there's just
trying for the
a
10,000.
Western Union
Yeah.
transaction was
Yeah.
like for 20 million
Yeah,
dollars. Like
this
the bank
guy
would
is
be like,
like
yeah,
yeah,
just
this
let it
guy's
through.
buying like this guy is buying like $2,000 lots of stock on a normal day. He always talks to his broker, and all of a sudden this random Western Union transaction comes through. Like no, there's no chance. You're caught. You're
Yeah,
absolutely
like
caught.
any competent banker would immediately flag that for like some sort of like review or
The
like
algorithm would flag that.
yeah, like anything like
Dude,
I'm
but
pretty sure.
my we went on vacation for our honeymoon in 2020, like right as things were getting bad in the pandemic, and like we tried to stay at it was a very nice hotel. It was expensive, so like each night they were taking a very big amount of money out of our account, and immediately our bank sent us a message and called us and was like, "Is this you? Because someone's out in another like state, way far from where you are." Spending a whole lot of money. So
That's funny. I wonder if you get the same treatment at like your small town local one branch bank.
yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
Because yeah, I've always banked with bigger banks and they do the same thing. Like they have someone call me at any time of the day or night,
And you know
basically.
that person's not just sitting on the computer waiting for your transactions. Like it's just an algorithm
Yeah.
click, and then they got a little red alert on their screen, and they just picked up the phone.
Yep. And it's like, okay, let me call this guy real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So that would be a good target. You would someone who has a bank account with ye old small town only
Yeah.
open during the weekdays bank.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. But
But
even
you're
then,
still
they're
gonna catch up
FDIC
to you.
insured. So like, even if you got away with it, the person wouldn't be ruined. They would get their money back.
That's true. But the bank would be pissed. And now you have banks who are mad at you. Again, another rich entity who is gonna get their money back in some way, shape, or form. Or at least do something to
You
like
mean mad at the guy who stole it, or whoever it is that stole it? Oh,
right.
okay. Yeah.
Like I'm
Fair.
sure like any like known bank. Well, I guess if it's like a ye old small town bank, maybe they don't have like a team that like an investigation team that can like handle those things. So it's a tough world out
I
there.
think it would just be turned over. I think what happens in those instances, I could be completely wrong, but based on what I've heard, this is the way I think it works. The bank just has their money insured. they through that insurance they get paid back through like what I think is probably the taxpayers' money. Because like let's be honest, the FDIC doesn't isn't like a rich entity without taxpayers. So like through that process, they get their money back. So we all pay for whoever stole the money, right? And then they just turn the case over to the federal government, and then they handle it. Now, whether or not they actually catch anyone, I don't know. But the people who get their money stolen, yeah, for sure, they get their money back. So like even the bank, I don't even think you're that bad if you're the bank. You're just like, oh, that's unfortunate. Well, good thing we have insurance, and then you just move on. You just keep doing business as usual the next day.
Is that true?
And that's why
Does FDIC insurance
they tell tellers
opt
like don't
from?
even try to like argue with the people who are if you're getting robbed at a bank, just give them what they want because we have insurance. It's fine.
Does
Yeah, you're
FDIC?
completely right, John. Like that crime is basically like setting off a flare that says, "Come get me."
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, yep.
It's
Like
the
until
worst
that
crime.
point, you were fine.
Yeah, no one
Yeah.
even knew who you were. You were literally better
Yeah.
off with nothing than you were with all this money and spotlight on you.
Yeah, you have $20 million in a frozen bank account because I'm sure any bank that just immediately got 20 million transferred
Yeah.
to it would just get frozen for like suspicious
Oh,
activity.
instantly. Yeah, like that's the worst. Like that. Why would you do that to yourself? It makes no sense. But yeah, they even told us that when I used to work at Calvin Klein, and one of the things you had to do if you closed the store was you had to take like whoever was working plus the manager had to take all the money in the register to a literal deposit box at the bank that Calvin Klein like did business with. And like a lot of times it was in the middle it was like at late at night, like 10, 11 p.m. So it's just two people carrying a wad of cash to a bank. And like they said several times, like if anyone ever comes for you, like just give them the money. It's fine. Like it's insured.
That's interesting. So I just asked ChatGPT. So there's probably other insurances the bank itself would buy to
Yeah, the
protect you
bank.
from
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But the
FDIC is just
FDIC
for the
insurance,
person.
yeah, that's just for the person, and that's only in the like for economic reasons, like if the bank itself fails. That's not
Yeah.
for if it gets robbed or anything. Well, I guess if it gets robbed
Mm,
enough and then fails, then you're good. But like
yeah,
if it
that
gets robbed and the bank is open, then it's up to the bank to
I'm pretty.
reimburse the customer.
I was gonna say I'm
But
pretty
there's no
sure.
law forcing that to happen.
Yeah, yeah. The FDIC, you're right. FDIC is usually for if the bank fails.
That's funny. But apparently like Visa, MasterCard, they have a really good like reimbursement policy on like those transactions. And then a lot of the big banks also have reimbursement policies. But yeah, apparently according to ChatGPT, not all banks, and you don't have to have a reimbursement policy. So
But why would you
I'm
ever?
sure.
Why would you ever be banking somewhere that isn't committed to reimbursing your money if they're robbed? What kind of what is this like a corner store?
Ye
So
old
you're
small town bank. Yeah, I have no idea.
no small town banks are better than that. You're literally talking about Western Union and no one else.
Is Western Union even a bank, or is it
No,
that
I'm
like
pretty
booth
sure
in the
they're not.
corner of every bank?
Yeah, I think they are not considered a bank. Is Western Union a bank?
Isn't it just like a transfer service? I don't even
Yeah.
know what it is, honestly.
I don't. I think it's just a transfer service thing. You're right. They just basically charge you to move your own money.
Like it's like olden day Zelle.
But there's still a lot of people who don't have accounts.
Bank accounts?
Yeah,
That's truly off the grid. Like if you don't trust banks, that's crazy.
there are people who are like that. I know people who are bankers who don't trust the stock market, which I think is even stranger because like their money is in some way
Right.
insured
The
by
career.
the market. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's okay.
It's weird.
Interesting.
Yeah, Western Union is not a bank. Western Union is a
Interesting.
responsible company. No, anytime you have to describe this question of like people also ask, is Western Union safe to receive money? And the first sentence is, the Western Union is a responsible company. No, no, you're not. If
Yeah,
you have
no,
to
it's not.
if you have to describe yourself as responsible, you're not responsible. Shut up.
Yeah,
You're not
it's not
responsible.
good. Yeah, don't trust it.
U.S. Bank is collaborating with Western Union. Does anyone here bank with U.S. Bank?
I actually do have a bank account with them.
Not
Do you?
anymore.
No. Yeah, man. Western Union
No,
got it.
I mean like I did a while ago, but like
Oh.
literally. But
He
if
said,
I were
once you learned about
still,
Western Union, you were
I would
like,
have called them tomorrow,
I
been
need to
like,
close my account.
Yeah. I'm gonna need to close everything.
yeah. It's
Oh
like,
my
hello, yeah.
god.
Can you tell me about making Western Union transfers? I think I'll be closing my account.
Yeah. I'll be closing my account now. So you haven't even given your
Yeah,
name.
I'll be
Close all the
closing my
accounts. Close all of them.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I know my grandpa, he got scammed. Someone called him, like, and they were pretending to be, uh, like one of his grandkids, like one of my cousins or whatever, and saying that he was in jail and they needed him to Union them. It's like a couple $1,000 so he can get out of jail or whatever. And he didn't want to call his parents because they'd be mad. And he's like, "You can't tell my parents, so just send me the money and like we'll be good." Like, and it's just between me and you. And he actually like got to the point where he got to the bank, but then as soon as he got to the bank and told the banker like the situation, the banker was like, "This is not real. Like, I highly doubt." He's like, "Double check that he's in jail because like I highly doubt that's fake." So he did. He called him back on his cell phone and he answered and he's like, "No, I'm not in jail." He's like, "Oh." He's like, "All right, well, good thing I didn't go through with that." Like, obviously, but yeah, like the banker immediately stopped him. But like, he almost did it. Like, he almost got him.
Why,
They almost got a
how?
Wait,
couple
so did
$1,000.
your grandpa get called from a spoofed number? Like it looked like it was like your
Yeah.
cousin?
No,
Damn.
no,
Okay.
it not my cousin's number, and I don't think they actually knew his name because like when we asked him, he's like, "You know what? I don't think he ever said." Like my grandpa said, "Oh, is this Blake?" And immediately when he asked that, then they said, "Yeah, it's Blake." So my grandpa said that he said the name first, so that
Oh.
probably is how they knew like what name to use or whatnot. Uh, so yeah, I guess when you answer the phone, don't say shit. Be like, "Who is this? Who this?"
I just don't answer.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. But you know, old people, you just answer your phone. It might be Betsy from down the street.
Yeah, that's true. I just don't. I don't know. I feel like that would never be me. I don't care how old I get. I'm not gonna be like answering
Yeah,
my phone. Get the fuck out
yeah.
of here.
You're not
But
getting
you're right.
with that tactic.
Every old person I've ever been around, they will answer that phone no matter what. Like
Yeah,
even if like the last 10 calls were all like scammers, they'll still answer it.
yeah. Even if the number that shows up is 888-888-8888, they'll just
Yeah.
answer it. They'll be like, "Hello," and be like, "This is a pre-recorded message." Okay. And they'll listen to it for like 3 minutes and be like, "No, thank you." Like, no, just the moment I hear that it's a voice I don't recognize and it sounds even the slightest bit pre-recorded, like I hang up.
Yeah, I usually hang up if it sounds pre-recorded too.
Like I don't even let them finish the first
So,
word. They'd be
and
like, "Hello."
I can't always just not answer it. Like so, it depends. Like now I'm working remote, so my cell phone number is how people reach me if they want to like talk to me on the phone. Now, luckily, most people just use like an app like Teams or something like that. But there are a few people that like they prefer phones. So like I've had to save their numbers to make sure. But the first few times they called, I was like, "Who is this?" And they're like, "Oh, hey, it's so and so," and like we start talking about work. So I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I know who you are."
Yeah, this is a pre-recorded message. Yeah, I had one today actually. It got me actually. It was like first I was like, "Hello," and then it didn't say anything. And then like a guy was like, "Hello?" And I was like, "Oh, hi." It's like, "Hello?" And then like there was nothing. And he's like, "Hey, okay, yeah. This is the Police Support Association." And I was just like, "Boop." Like I immediately hung up like I could tell just like the way he said like this is the Police Support Association. Like it was too perfect. Like that was a scripted like that was not his first time saying that. Like it was a perfectly recorded, and they picked the best recording to play. And like the moment I recognized it, I hung up immediately. I don't care like if it was the fucking Support Valero Foundation. Like I would have hung up. Like I mean, it'd probably be a scam at that point. But like, literally, I don't care what it was. Like the moment I hear it was pre-recorded, yeah, just like get that shit off my phone. Like, what a waste of time.
Well, actually, just like how would happen to your grandpa, don't you guys think, like in 10 years' time, wouldn't you be more apt to answer any call, like in case it has something to do with your kid?
That's true. And if it's from an unknown number, I'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe it just is like them and they got a hold of a phone and they just needed to contact me or something. And it's not like you're doing anything or busy. Like you're just at home retired, just waiting for like anything to
Yeah,
happen.
most times I answer the phone unless like, cause like a lot of times now I'll just see scam likely, so then I don't have to answer. It's like if if whatever the carrier is determining that it's something that is probably not real, it's not real. But if my daughter's outside the house, then sure, yeah, I'd probably answer the phone. But even then, if she was in real trouble, she'd say so right away, or I'd be able to like figure that out right away. Like it's
Yeah, that's why he did the grandkid. He didn't say it was his son because
Mhm.
you recognize your kid's voice way too easily. Like, no, that's not my own kid. Like, I recognize my kid's voice, but your grandkid, they know those grandparents are just checked out enough to not quite recognize every
Yeah.
grandkid's voice perfectly.
there's no way my mom would know for sure.
Yeah, I feel like with you, because like that's her only grandkid, right?
Yes.
Yeah, my grandpa has like how many cousins do I have? There's like over 10 of us. So
Yeah.
like at a
And
certain point, he's
I
just
am
like,
not
sure,
inclined. Yeah,
this is one of them.
I am not inclined to help anyone outside of my immediate family financially in that way. So that would probably be a mistake to call me for that anyway.
Yeah, that's true too. Well, I mean, if it's your grandkid, like Mila's kid, like what if Mila has like actually that you would never get 10 grandkids. Like that would be insane. That would mean Mila would literally have to have 10 kids and like maybe at that point like you'd be like 90 years old, super like delirious and like you answer the
I'd
phone
be
and like one
90. Why am
claim
I 90?
he was like almost 90 when he got this call. He was like 88, I want to say 87 maybe, something like that. Like, so he's like nearly 90.
No,
And like,
at that age,
they
I'm
just
not
claim to be
answering the
your
phone
like
like that.
youngest grandkid that you barely even recognize. Like, maybe, I feel like
No.
that's
No.
close.
At that age, I'm probably just having people like, if they want to deal with me, just like actually FaceTime me. Because then because I know that my faculties are going to be worse. So why would I
How
put
are you
myself in
supposed
a
to
position?
FaceTime in jail?
What?
How are you supposed to FaceTime in jail?
Well, you should probably call someone
Oh,
You should probably call someone closer to you than your grandfather,
But
who can't like see or hear that well.
but they can't call like Mila because they'll get mad. So like they're calling you, the grandpa.
That's a stupid reason. You sounds like you need to spend some time in jail.
See, yeah, that trick wouldn't work on you. Like my
No.
grandpa was like, you know what?
My
I'll
dad's
get you out of
I'm
this
gonna They're gonna
situation.
be mad at me. You're acting like I'm gonna come bail you out and not tell your parent what you fucking did. That's stupid. I would never do that. That's
Yeah, my
insane.
grandpa's like, you know what? I'll do this one. I'll do this solid
He's
for
like,
you
I
this
got you.
time.
Yeah. What a good
He's
guy.
like, I won't tell him. I'll get you out of jail. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like I would do it. I might be tricked into that. Like, obviously, now that I know it's a scam, like, and like I'm a millennial, like you said, like I'm not answering my phone to anyone I don't know.
But
But
like
if I
even
do for some reason do it, and it's someone's name I don't recognize claiming to be one of my 10 grandkids,
yeah.
would I be like, no, go fuck yourself? Maybe, honestly.
But even if it wasn't, let's assume it wasn't a scam and they were really in jail. How is sending them money on a card helping them get out of jail?
I don't know, because then they can give it to like their bail bondsman, and
How are
then their
they
bail
getting
bondsman
fund? How
will.
are they receiving funds on a card in jail?
I don't know. You're already asking more questions than this is worth. Like, if I were the scammer,
Yeah.
I'd hang up and be like, I'm getting outplayed.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And if you're on the phone any longer than that and you're not asking those questions, something is very wrong.
Yeah, just remember to ask questions then.
Yeah, ask questions. If you're not sure, ask questions.
They'd be like, I don't know, Grandpa. Like, just get me out of here.
Wouldn't
This
you
guy's gonna rape me soon.
if you're in jail, wouldn't it be better for me to come and get you than to send you money? Like you're in jail.
He's like, no, Grandpa, you don't want to come to this jail. Like, they'll fuck you up here. Like, just send me the money. Like,
That's the
keep
craziest thing
yourself
I've ever
safe.
heard. Yeah, I would have way too many questions.
Yeah, that's smart. That's good. You should. As you should. More old people need to be asking these questions.
Yeah, if you're old, that would be yeah. I could see how that would be tougher. But then if you, I think you have to be self-aware enough, just like you have to be somewhat self-aware enough to like probably not drive if you're 90, like if you know you only have one good eye or something like that. Like, yeah, you probably should just get an Uber. Like, yeah, that's not that's just for best for everyone, for you, for humanity. Just yeah, be self-aware.
Oh man. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I feel like that's a pretty good way
Well,
to end it. Don't
well.
get hacked. Don't don't lose your
Oh
authenticators.
wait. I
Ask
actually
questions.
wait before we end. I actually did want to talk about something, but we got off on this on the authentication thing. So something that I've been seeing lately is like um, as Mila gets older, is like she wants to play and she's starting to interact with kids when we go to like public spaces like parks and playgrounds, that kind of thing. And the other day we took her to the park down the street from our house, which is like it's literally down the street. It's like a few minutes walk, and there were kids there, and this group of kids. It was two twin girls who looked like five, maybe 4 or 5, and this one boy who was maybe 6 or 7, and they showed up there with their mom. And so we're playing with Mila, Danielle and I, just on the swings and shit like that. And she and then she like basically was watching them play, and she goes like, look, they're playing, they're running or whatever. And the boy comes straight up to her and like tries to hug her, like without asking or anything. And like Danielle's standing in between them. She's like, well, we don't want to hug. Like she was like nicely telling him, we don't want to hug, we don't want to. And she's like, he like just kept doing it. So immediately I'm behind Mila and I'm like, there's a lot of things going through my head. Like one, my first thought is to just shove the boy because like clearly you're not getting the picture. But then I can't shove a kid because then I'm definitely going to jail. So I can't do anything. I'm just sitting there. So I thought like maybe I could talk to the parent and be like, hey, like could you get your kid? But she's sitting on this bench far away from where they're playing and just yelling to him to stop doing things. And he's clearly not listening. So yeah. So I thought to myself like this is an example of where like this boy, and it's really not his fault, but like this boy is probably like this is the person they say who grows up to be the monster that your daughters hate or whatever, because he hasn't been taught like personal space, and like anytime anyone corrects him, the mom's not doing anything. Like, but this lady is raising the monster, and I just don't understand like what do you do when people's kids are unruly and the parents don't give a fuck? So I was talking about that to Danielle today, and I was like, if I'm really glad you were there, because like if I said that to him and he didn't back off, I would there would be only one option that I have that doesn't end me in jail, and that's to literally walk away from the park. Like we have to leave, because if I talk to the parent, it's me against this woman, and immediately I'm the aggressor. Just on instinct of
Yeah,
everyone in this
pretty
situation.
much.
And then if I fucking headbutt a kid, I'm definitely the aggressor. So so like I just don't understand why people just let their kids do the craziest things in public spaces. And then they're just like, I can't understand why little Jimmy is having so many troubles. Like, don't you see the signs? Like I don't understand. See, I just wanted to share that
Yeah,
story
I
because I
don't get
didn't
it
know what to
either.
do.
Yeah, I would do the same thing. Like you just have to leave. Like just take yourself out of the situation and your
Okay.
kid and just avoid them. Because
Okay.
right, like those are the only two outcomes. Either you start a fight with the parent
Right.
or you start a fight with the kid. Like those are your only two. Like
Yeah,
there's
you
no
gotta fight
good
that kid.
answer.
Yeah,
You
you
gotta give
gotta
him that
fight the
low
kid.
uppercut.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to know.
Yeah,
Like, should
just
I have
gotta punch
punched?
them.
Yeah, should I have punched the kid? That's the real
No,
question. Okay.
no, you made the exact right. Those are the only three options, really. Just like you said,
Yeah.
either do nothing,
Yep.
fight the parent, fight the kid, or
Okay.
leave. Like
Yeah.
you, those are the only like possible options. That's really
Yep.
the best one,
Yep.
leaving.
And little Timmy, if
Yeah,
you ever do watch this one day, yeah, it's not your fault. It's your jackass of a parent's fault. I'm really sorry. But anywho, yeah, I just wanted I wanted to get that out there to make sure. Yeah, don't hit kids, guys. Don't do that. Don't do it.
Yeah,
But I
that's
was really fucking tempted. His head looked like a football like never before. That was
like
just
I could punt this so easily.
yeah.
Like
Like I wonder if his head would just pop off if I just came from the side and just gave him the Liu Kang.
the uppercut. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the Street
Uh,
Fighter Haruken just straight up into the air,
like you
spinning.
do a
Yeah,
360 and
yeah.
everything.
You have to
You'd have
jump
to
and
like
spin.
start. You'd have to start from prone. Like you can't even crouch to get that low.
You have to be laying
You
on
have to
the
be laying straight on the ground. Like you just walk up to him and look at him, and then lay on the ground in front. He'd be so confused. He'd never see it
He'd be
coming.
like looking down, just get a
No, I
fist
should have
right
done
in
that
the
to the. I
face.
should have done that to the parent. That's what I should have done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, Hadouken.
yeah. The whole time she was sitting in the corner smoking a cigarette and just yelling at them, and I just couldn't. I was just, I was just
He's
so
like, little
annoyed.
Jimmy,
Like,
stop
why is your
breaking that
cigarette
other
more
kid. Quit
important
it out.
than your kid like violating other kids? That's insane.
I know. Oh, like Timmy.
Yeah.
Like that's all. That's the extent of her like interjection and punishment. Just saying Timmy's name
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah, stop or
Timmy,
stop that. Don't do that. Like, what the fuck?
stop.
Yeah.
No, he's not stopping. Now what do you do? I don't know. That's all I
Well,
got.
boys will be
Like
boys, I
that's it.
guess. Like, I guess he's just, yeah.
You're just gonna let him terrorize other people? Like no,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, man.
Yeah, crazy.
We're not having it. I'm not having that either. Like
Yeah.
no fucking way.
Yeah, don't try to steal people's identity, and when you're in public spaces, don't touch anyone. Just just keep your hands to yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Like, what are you supposed to do? Like, yeah, you can't. Like, what if you have friends who have bad kids? Like, how are you supposed to hang out with them? Like, because in this situation, it's a stranger, so you can choose to never see them again. But what if
Mhm.
this person was your friend?
I think you just have to have. I think you have to have an honest talk about your
Look,
expectations.
your kid is unhinged. Like, like, how could you say that to someone? Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know. Like, yeah,
And
that'd
like
be
I'm sure
interesting.
if you were in like our house, there would probably be moments where Mila would be upset or mad, but never to the level of like putting her hands on someone that she doesn't know. Like if anything, she's probably more fearful of people she doesn't know because she doesn't know what to expect from them. But like clearly he was not at all like phased by the fact that he had never seen us before.
He's
Not
like
at
a
all.
stranger, no stranger
Yeah.
danger
Which tells
whatsoever.
me he's done it before.
Yeah, definitely. Like this is normal for him,
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
which is normal for her and how she raises her kids. And yeah,
Right. Yep.
crazy.
What a shame.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like though, like me and you like have the same expectations about like how people should be acting in public. So like, I think like when our kids meet each other, like I'm hoping at least like I don't know what it's like. Obviously like my kid
Yeah.
does like a lot of stuff that I wouldn't do, like
Yeah.
because they're a baby, but like.
Yeah.
Like I have the same expectations as you though, so like I won't be like, there's no fucking way I'll be sitting on a bench smoking a cigarette, just being like, Reina, like Reina, stop. Like no,
Yeah.
no fucking way. Like that's the extent. Like that's
Yeah.
like my first warning sign, honestly. Like
Yep.
yeah, I feel like yeah, there will be much more done, much more done if it really comes to it. There's no way I'm just gonna let that happen. So I'm assuming we won't have any problems, and it sounds like the same with you. So like,
Yeah, I would imagine the only thing that would be like, because Nyland's never played with a kid younger than her before, so I think it'd just be interesting to her to like be around another kid who's younger who can't do all the same things. But like once we'd have those talks, like immediately as I see her doing something, I'm correcting it. Like we were leaving that same park the same day, and two girls had parked their bikes outside, and they were like super shiny, and one of them was purple, which is Mila's favorite color. So she immediately walks up to it, and before she even got close enough to touch, I'm like, do not touch their bikes. Like those are not yours. You can look at them. Do not touch them. And you could see the wheels turning. Like she got very close. She did the normal 2-year-old thing. She got as close as she could without touching it. So, but like she made sure she listened. So like yeah, I think there would be some of that. But like if you're not even if your kid is just has no fear of any consequence, of course they're gonna do whatever they want. And that was what's
yeah.
so crazy to me, just to see it in his eyes. He was like, "Yeah, this is normal." Like, and
And you were telling him to stop too, and he
well,
didn't.
I didn't say anything to him because I was gonna drop kick him, but I let
No,
I
you didn't say anything to
no
him.
Danielle did.
Oh,
I was
Danielle,
right next
right,
to them.
right, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I had to restrain myself.
Yeah, maybe you should have said something. Maybe hearing it from like the dad would have like shaken him to his core, and then he would have stopped doing it.
Maybe,
Like
but
if you would
that's
have looked at him with a complete straight face and a deep voice and be like,
yeah, maybe,
"Cut
but
it out."
that's one. That's not my. That shouldn't be my role. And two, yeah, if he had done it again after the second, Danielle gave him two like very clear audible cues.
So you never said
No, I
you were
did
just
not say
about
a
to
word.
come in like out of nowhere. Like the
Yeah,
real like interaction was between them and Danielle, and then you
correct.
were about to come into the sidelines and be like, "Watch out, watch out, watch out." Okay, now and just like like you weren't
No,
even
I
part
would
of the
have.
interaction.
No,
You were
I
just
would
about
have.
to knock this kid right
I
out.
wanted to do that, but if he had not listened on the after the second one, I would have come in between all three of them and been like, "She told you once, you need to move." Like that, it would have been very, very clear. Like you're gonna get hit next time.
Yeah, I feel like that would have been enough. But
Yeah,
honestly,
I think
like, why
so too.
even bother? Because
Right.
it's gonna be
Yes.
super awkward after
Yep.
that.
Right.
So you might as well just leave.
So I gave him a chance, and he listened on the second one, and he left.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a
Oh,
world.
what a world. Other people's kids.
Yep. Anyway,
All
don't
right.
have kids if you don't want to like parent them, please.
Timmy. Like you need to do more than
Timmy.
that.
Timmy. But yeah, okay. Yeah. So we're gonna end it here. Thanks everybody for listening to our TED Talk on authenticators and children. We hope you enjoyed yourself because we did, and we'll see you next time. Bye
See you next time, guys.
bye.
Bye.